Obviously, I'll edit.
Perfect. Right.
Okay, here we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Healing Room podcast. My name is Leela Zine, and I'm your host. And today we have a special guest. I know y'all are so excited. I am too. Our special guest today is Auston Robinson. He is a photographer and videographer. I would like to call him a visual storyteller, as he calls himself. And I'm just happy to have him. Hey, Auston, how are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm so happy to have somebody else on this show outside of me. I know my listeners are so sick and tired of just listening to me. So I'm just kidding. But thanks for joining us, Auston. Okay, Auston, please tell us about yourself. Introduce us to you.
Well, I am a 25-year-old storyteller. I like to, as you said before, I like to go by a visual storyteller instead of putting it in a box as a videographer or photographer. So I just like to tell stories. That's what I found to be my passion. It doesn't matter what the story is, as long as it has some kind of meaning or impacts somebody or somehow some kind of creative outlet. That's me. It's just a visual storyteller. I get a lot of passion from traveling, talking to people, meeting people, and just going outside the comfort zone. That's me. That's me in a nutshell.
I
Short and
love
sweet.
it. And I see like right now, your name on Zoom says AJ. Do you go by Auston or AJ?
So adult me goes by Auston now. Growing up, I went by AJ in high school, and even some of college, I went by AJ. But as I grew up, I wanted to be more transparent and more me. And instead of making the alias of AJ, which a lot of people know me by AJ, I've started just using my regular name of Auston and just being more transparent. The work I put out is more just me, and just, instead of maybe making stuff that other people would want to see, I'm making stuff more for me, and you guys just get the treat of pretty much enjoying it.
Okay. So we're gonna call you Auston because that's your boss name.
I appreciate it.
Auston. I was gonna ask like where did the J come from in AJ? Or is
That's the middle name. Yep, that is the middle. Yep.
He's like, I'm not giving y'all my
Yeah, I'm not gonna give everybody. I don't want anybody looking me up, but I'll give you the little piece.
Tapping into your social security card. Like we can't
Right.
from the Healing Room podcast. Okay. We're here for healing, not for scamming. So where are you from, Auston?
So right now I am in the northern part of Atlanta, Gwinnett area, and I'm pretty much up here for right now. I probably will move around sometime soon once COVID dies down, but I'm gonna keep that a secret for right now of where I'm headed. But
Definitely. You gotta keep us
yeah,
guessing.
yeah,
Okay.
a little bit.
Shout out to Atlanta. ATL listeners listening. What's up? How long have you been a filmmaker, Auston? And like what inspired you on this journey?
So that's a long and short story. Honestly, I think it's just always been kind of like a part of me. From like a young age, you could see me with cameras, and my dad used to record me a lot when we were younger. And there was always this little catchphrase that you would hear in all the videos. Every time he would point the camera at me, I would be like, let me see, let me see, let me see. So I got excited every time I saw a camera. And it wasn't until like middle school, high schoolish, where I decided to pick it back up again. Like I just kind of like gravitated it towards it, and was just taking pictures and stuff in high school. I got known for that throughout high school as the photographer. When I went to college, I was still taking pictures. I started off at Austin State, and then ended up going to Georgia Gwinnett to finish it out. And about the middle of college, I started getting into videography a lot more because I've always loved movies. So I just wanted to take it up that notch. And that's kind of how the filmmaking kind of ties in. So they're both a big passion, love of mine, but now it's more video than photography for sure.
Yes. I mean, that's amazing. A lot of creatives can say that they started at a really young age. So that's dope to know that from high school or younger, you knew that you were going to be a photographer, filmmaker, videographer. And that's actually why I fell in love with your work. I found you on YouTube as I was searching for information on EF, which is a company you worked for in China. I was super surprised to find some Black folk in China as I was trying to see if it was a good fit for me. And I was happy to see, you and your girlfriend in China. And so I fell in love with your work through your YouTube and vlogs. How did you start vlogging in China? Because I mean, it's so crisp, it's so beautiful. You made China look like, I don't know, everywhere you went, it was like a 4-star, 5-star hotel.
Yeah. So when I initially got to China, I wanted with my friends and family here, and just calling them on the phone and sending them pictures was just not enough. So once I got a little bit more settled, I was like, let me show them really how I'm living out here. Like, I had friends who think of China as just a village farm country, and I'm like, no, my apartment here that's $500 is probably nicer than what you have here in the city. I'm like, the food here is a little different, and I just want to show that experience of kind of like how China seems like a big scary place. Especially growing up here in the West, you hear all the horror stories of China, and they don't really shine the light on what it is now. And I just kind of wanted to do that in my own way, not necessarily to just make China look like a great, amazing country, but just my experience there for people just like you who were interested in China. And especially being Black, it's harder to find our experience anywhere. So to be able to document that helps others as well. And that's how I got there, was watching others on YouTube just like me, who was like, hey, it's not bad here. You should, pack your stuff up and just at least try it out.
Man, that's so true. I think it's so difficult for people of color to feel accepted overseas because we're
Yeah.
not as accepted in the US. Would you say the same?
So with China, it's a little bit different. There's a word I like to tell people. It's xenophobia. So in America, we have racism. You have where there's the historic racism with slavery, Jim Crow, and it's just embedded pretty much in the American culture. And agree or disagree, it's embedded in American culture. So with China, it's you're just a foreigner. You're not Black, you're not white, you're just a foreigner. So it's Chinese and foreigner. That's what it is. You'll never be accepted as a Chinese person because you're not Chinese. As it goes being a Black in China, the thing about it was they're more fascinated. Some honestly had never seen a Black person before. And you have to be open-minded when you go that this is some of their reality. They may never have seen a Black person on the train or right next to them. So you will see them take out their phones and, get excited and take pictures and um, ask questions about your hair and even try to touch your hair. Uh, Teaching English over there in China, I actually had a whole lesson where I just taught them about my hair and how my hair works, just to kind of just break the ice and tell them what they wanted to know. So yeah, it's definitely different being Black over there, but it comes with its benefits. I didn't feel like it was hostile or anything like that. I had a great time.
Wow, that is so rare that you would hear that from a Black man, going
Yeah.
to a different country. We have been dealing with, a lot of systematic racism, and you know this because you just recently launched a project, on your Instagram, a visual that you worked on about, voting and being Black and the
Yeah.
brotherhood coming together, which was an awesome visual, by the way. And, when it comes to locks in our hair, that's another thing that we dealt with, even having to try to pass the Crown Act. That's a
Yeah.
huge thing in Atlanta because it's a huge thing in
Mm-hmm.
Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you having locks, I also had locks too for 9 years. I cut them off
Nice.
2 years ago and, miss them dearly, but I understand what you mean when it comes to different cultures being more fascinated with us. How does
Yeah.
it make you feel like, as a creative, going to a different country and people flocking to you because of how you looked? Did that trigger an emotion that maybe let your guard down, in China versus being a Black filmmaker in America, Black creative in America?
Yeah, definitely. Because that's one reason why I did the vlogging, because you stand out like a sore thumb in China. It's it's not even weird to take out your camera and start filming yourself. You're already sticking out like a sore thumb. So for me, when I was there, it actually sparked more creativity being there, because you were learning so much and there was so much stimulant in China, that you just wanted to capture it all. You just wanted to create. So that was something big for me when I was over there, that you felt like a child. That's something I told my girlfriend. You feel like a child when you're in China, like because we didn't speak the language, you didn't know the food, you didn't know how to get around. So you're starting from zero, and each month you grew. And it's like, it went from you're using your hands for everything to try to speak to people, to where you start asking questions in Chinese. You start excuse me, you start asking questions in Chinese. You start actually really getting involved, and it did spark a lot of creativity, and just kind of showed you what you really were capable of, that you didn't maybe even know you were capable of.
That's amazing. And I think that really helps with imposter syndrome, which is, are you familiar with the term?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, definitely.
I'm actually a therapy student right now. So I will be getting I'll be a licensed therapist in less than a couple years. But that is something I dealt with, imposter syndrome, as a creative, where, I felt sometimes like I didn't know what I was doing, and I have all this experience, yet I felt like it wasn't enough. It didn't suffice. And so I feel like you being accepted, or creatives being accepted, like you said, fuels that creativity. And obviously, when creativity is fueled, you come up with some
Yeah.
amazing, creative, mind blowing content, And acceptance, from what you're saying, it makes me feel like the cure to imposter syndrome could be acceptance. That could
Mm-hmm.
be a piece of it, to allow
Yeah,
the creative to truly flow in his art, right? Um,
definitely.
just to switch gears a little bit, one of the projects, actually, well, the main project I fell in love with your work outside of your blogs, was the Project Glory. And I mean, listeners, you have to go to Auston's page. His Instagram is auston.robinson. I'll link it in the comments below, and he'll give you his handles afterwards. But you have to go on his Instagram page, and you have to see this amazing film that he directed, with these beautiful Black angels of all shades. I mean, please tell me about, how did you come up with how did you direct such a, because I know it was produced by someone else, but how did you direct such a futuristic visual with all of these cute little Black queens? Because I just wanted to take them out of the visual and adopt them. Tell me about that project.
So Glory was probably my favorite project of last year, for sure. It was produced by Creative Souls Photo. They're a couple photographers, and also, like, I call them my parents, because they're like my mentors. Well, they are my mentors here in Atlanta, and they wanted me to do their promo project for their book that's actually out now, which is called Glory, which is pretty much them showing different children from around the world kind of how they wanted to be painted, and as their imagination. So they pitched me the idea. They're like, we want to put something with past, present, and future. That's all we know. We want you to figure out the rest, and pitch it to us, and we'll figure something out. We'll produce it, whatever you need. We'll just make it happen. I said, enough said. So pretty much I just sat, I watched movies, I talked to my girlfriend, I talked to some other friends. At that time, Lovecraft had just started airing, but the funny thing was I didn't start watching it yet until the project was actually done. And pretty much, I just pretty much went in imagination and was like, what would I want to see? What would be interesting to me? And I was like, you know what? Let me start this in the future. I don't want to give away too much of the project for anybody who wants to see it, but I was like, let me start at a different point where people might not, you know yet. And we just made it happen. And once we released it, I've never been happier than that with the project. Like that was definitely one of my favorite projects, probably of all time, for sure.
It's
And
stunning. Job well done.
yeah, and the actors did an amazing job. The visual effects people did amazing. It really was an idea that was in my head. I drew it out and it happened, and so happy with it.
Wow.
So happy.
Spoiler alert. Y'all need to go see it. And I'm just going to do a little spoiler alert. But these hairstyles in this visual, I mean, talk about Black Girl Magic. You know, that term was coined when they started the Black Girls Rock award show. I think BET started that. And I mean, Black Girl Magic has just been kind of like our coined phrase for me being a Black woman. I still hashtag Black Girl Magic as grown as I am, but there's just so much magic in your visual, you know what I mean? With the hairstyles,
Right.
and the culture that you infuse is so beautiful for our today. Just infusing the faith, the church, you know, me being a Christian, I love to see that. We've gone through so much last year, and obviously we're still going through, but I feel like this visual was very healing. When I saw it, I really had a sense of more pride for my complexion, you know, and
Right.
to see myself in the future and still look as fly, you know, I was like, oh, I can totally see this Flintstone, you know, thing coming to reality. Um, it has just been such a great journey for us. So, you know, one of the projects that you did, I kind of want to talk about is one of the projects you did, I want to talk about is this project with the Black men, you know, with the voting. As a creative, as a filmmaker, as a visual storyteller, how much, you know, do you get emotionally indebted into your projects when you go into them?
So that's the fun thing with being a creative. It's has its ups and downs with being a creative. Is I feel like all of us put everything in our projects. I feel like it's impossible to not care about any project, either big or small. With that one, with that project, as soon as it was another director who directed that project, his name's Trenton, and he directed that project. And when he brought me on board for this, I was honored to be a part of it because it was history. This is something that, you know, we learned about in history books growing up, you know, watching, you know, looking at Martin Luther King and everything like that. And to like see myself recording something that was, you know, if we put this in black and white, you would have thought this was the 60s. So to hear from my granddad and, you know, other people in my family who were just so proud of that project, it felt great. And like as a creative, it's so hard not to put part of yourself in there, which is the greatest part of being the creative is you're really sharing a little bit of yourself with everyone when you make a project. And I know you'll ask something about that later, but yeah, I always love to put a little bit of myself in the projects. Definitely.
Definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
flow, like totally flow in that. I just think the project is so well done and also emotionally connecting to it. It is really amazing. You do very intentional work for the culture and for everyone. You know, I see other people of races also that you have supported in projects. And so if you had to give advice to an aspiring visual storyteller, photographer, videographer, um, who was maybe younger than you, Black, and maybe not as confident in their craft, what advice would you give
Some advice I would give them is take a content break. That was something for me that helped me out a lot was, and yeah, that helped me out a lot was stop watching content. Stop watching other people's content. I know we're fueled by Instagram and YouTube, Twitter, whatever. stop watching other people's content and focus on what you want to make and make stuff. You don't necessarily have to put everything out. I have so many projects that I have yet to put out, but I'll still make it just for me. So for a younger filmmaker that's just like me, or even if I was talking to my younger self, I would tell them, take a step back, turn off YouTube. I know these people look amazing, how they're filming these things, but these people are at stage 10 and you're at stage 1 right now. You know, you'll get to stage 10 sooner or not enough. And watching them at stage 10 and comparing you will just discourage you. So take a content break, do something different. Even if you're a filmmaker, go draw something. That's what I'll do sometimes, is draw, paint, do something that's outside of your art field and just grab inspiration from other places. And then when it's time and you feel like it's time for you to make your art, then go make your art, and trust me, it'll come out. Stop, the second one is stop worrying how other people will take on your art. Like I said before, I like to put a piece of me in everything. So sometimes social media, definitely for creatives, can really hurt you if you put out an amazing project and you know you deserve 10,000 likes on it, but you might get 100. That can make you feel some type of way about it. But you have to kind of get out of that and say, hey, this project was amazing for me. Let me put that out for others to share. If they grab it, if the algorithm likes it, cool. If not, hey, I still like it, and that's all that matters. So it's really just growing in that confidence of, this is me, this is who I'm putting out, this is the work I'm putting out, and just being confident and happy with that. And that's the best advice I would probably give to my younger self, or someone starting off just like me. It's just, don't compare yourself to everybody else. Make what you want to make your mistakes, be open to criticism, but you know, make what you want to make. Have fun with it. That's what it's all about.
Ooh, that was so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, y'all. I hope you really took all that in, to all my people out there, creatives out there, people who, aren't creating. I hope you could glean from that. I totally agree with you, Auston. Self-care, positive self-thinking, affirmations, or reaffirming yourself is the way to go to maintain your creativity, feed your mind, feed your art. That's just the way to go. You said it all. So I definitely would have to stand on that. So we have come to a close, and I'm just so grateful to have had you on the Healing Room podcast. An ounce of me has been healed. I'm about to go to China tomorrow.
As you should.
I'm a whole celebrity in China with my skin.
Yeah.
And I hope that a piece of other people have healed too from your experience, knowing that they can be accepted anywhere, everywhere, and they can be creative as they want to be, as long as they're ready to accept their work and be proud of it. I hope that healed a piece of you guys who are listening. It definitely healed me. Anything else, Auston, you want to leave us with before you go? Well, actually, you need to leave us with handles. Maybe if you want to give us some tea on the next thing coming out. I don't know. Should we be looking out for something? I don't know.
Definitely more projects are in the works. I don't like to put deadlines on projects, so definitely more things are coming out. 2021 is going to be definitely an amazing year. Definitely going to travel a little bit. And you can follow me on Instagram at my name, Auston.Robinson. YouTube is Auston R. And definitely we'll be making more content for you guys. And, hopefully I'll be back on the podcast sometime soon,
Oh, yes, you're coming back. You're coming back.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'll enjoy it. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome, Auston, and we appreciate you. We will talk.
I appreciate you guys too.
You're welcome.
All right.
Good night. Okay, Auston. So we are